Hey everyone, it is the late show with Ping, Nights with Ping. How are you? Coming to you live from Melbourne, Australia on this Thursday afternoon here. At least it's not 35 degrees like it was a couple of days ago when we had that big storm. But glad you could make it back here tonight. I'm going to catch up on an old case that seems to have no resolution. We're going to talk about the Nancy Nung case. I haven't heard anything about this in months. And then I saw this article that came out a couple of weeks ago. So I thought, oh, we'll have a look at it. She went missing while kayaking in Guatemala in Central America. She's from California and she was on a yoga retreat. But to this day, her body has never been found. And they don't know really what happened to her. It says here that her sister said she was thrilled to head back to Guatemala for a second year and was looking forward to the peace of the yoga and time away. Nancy is the first thing I think about in the morning, her sister Nikki said, and the last thing I think about before bed. She grew up admiring her outgoing big sister and clings to the last known video of Nancy with little more left to hold on to. Nancy, who worked with special education students, had embarked on the retreat for a relaxing break. She arrived on October 14th, 2023, letting her family know she'd made it to Guatemala and would be putting her phone in airplane mode. But on October 19th, 2023, Nancy was missing, and her family says witnesses have remained silent, making the investigation difficult. Yeah, we did hear from one of the people, Blazek, who is a works at a prosecutor's office in California. It took her quite a number of days to come out and give a statement publicly, and there is a lot of just suspicion around everyone, not anyone in particular, just around a lot of people that were there that day. There's a lot of things that just don't add up, especially in an emergency where someone may have fallen into the water. You don't just sort of go, "Oh, yeah, she fell into the water, we're just gonna go back to shore now." It was a bit weird. A couple of things were a bit odd, so we're gonna have a look at it, see if there's any updates. Hey, everyone, thanks for making it back. Lindy Bridges, Jojo, Tharvi, yep, another Maria, Sienna, Beth B. Hey, Beth B, happy Valentine's Day to you. Bree B, hey, Bree B. And DJ is here, Annika is here. Joy of Jesslyn. Hey, Jesslyn, how are you? Good to have you here, my friend. Marilyn Landis and Marlene Clausen. The other Marlene didn't come back. We had this second Marlene last night, but she didn't make it back to us. I don't know why. I wish she would. She was a nice lady. Hey, Vegemite Smile. Yeah, it was a very large lake that she fell into, and apparently the Guatemalan lakes have a notorious reputation for having things underneath the water that could snag you if you fell in, but also having very fast currents. So here's a bit of the timeline of the case. On October 14th, Nancy arrives in Guatemala for the yoga retreat. October 19th, 5 days later, a group of 10 sets out to kayak on the lake. Nancy and Blazek separate from the group, then Blazek sends a distress signal. October 19th, later that day, Nancy is reported missing 4 hours after the incident occurred. October 20, the next day, the rest of the group leave Guatemala, failing to pay the kayak rental company. On the October 21st, first air search is performed. On October 25th, Nancy's family reaches out to Blazek with no response. October 31st, the family tries again to contact Blazek with no response. November 13th, Christina Blazek named in news release by company that conducted aerial search. November 14th, Blazek finally gives a statement through her attorneys back in the US. I mean, what is that, like 3 weeks? 10? Yeah, about 3 weeks she took to sort of get back to the family. That's valuable hours. It's valuable time looking for the body of Nancy. And I mean, maybe her information could have been critical. Just because you gave it to authorities doesn't mean maybe the family aren't doing their own search and need that information. I'm not blaming her for Nancy's death. I'm just saying we could all maybe do things differently in emergency situations. It says, searching for Nancy, the family sprang into action, hiring a search and rescue company immediately. But the family says the retreat director and the woman who last saw Nancy kayaking didn't stay to help narrow down the search area in the vast lake. Instead, they left early. And Nikki said, "What do you mean she disappeared? What happened? Did the other students see anything? Nancy can swim. How did this happen?" That's the answers her sister was wanting from people, and no one replied to her. Some of the participants in the group said they weren't offered life jackets or given any safety instructions. The rental company, however, said life jackets were offered, but nobody took them. Well, that's not really good enough. When you go on the water, it should be compulsory that you take a life jacket. It shouldn't be like, well, we offered them and no one wanted them. It should be like, no, you can't go in our kayaks until you take a life jacket. It's a company policy. That's what it should be like. Shouldn't be a personal choice. They're a safety device for if something like this happened. Black Hawk Helicopters' Chris Spahn spearheaded the search for Nancy. He questions why other attendees left the area. He said, "I'll be quite blunt. A normal human being would stay and then go, I don't know where it was, but we went over there." And apparently, no one stayed behind to offer any kind of micro search area where they could point the helicopter or anything. So instead, they had to search basically the entire lake from scratch, not knowing sort of anywhere where she was. It says, family of California woman who disappeared in Guatemala desperately seek answers. Uh, the pilot also said he was so frustrated by female kayaker's silence that he named her weeks later in a news release. He said it would have narrowed down the area, or at least we could have put divers in, or the dive boat could have gone around and say, right, come on, boat, what are you doing? Can you remember? He said that would have narrowed down a massive lake to an Olympic sized swimming pool. After the news release, Blazek's attorney began speaking to the media nearly a month after Nancy disappeared. Yeah, and I've read recently they're still trying to find witness statements that some people still haven't given a full statement all this time later. So I don't know what happened here, but obviously something did happen and they're not, you know, helping, I guess. Marlene says there have been many drownings in that lake. It has a weird undertow. Yeah, we did mention it has a strange current system underneath. Sean says must be fully zipped up too. Yeah, we've had a few. Not to say Australia's any better. Uh, Australia has had water disasters as well. Being that we're a country surrounded by water, we've had many deaths of people in kayaks, boats, at the beach. I mean, we've all seen Bondi Rescue, right? Hey, Emma Roth, how are you? Good to have you back. It does. It seems like the story is missing something. Yes, Wildman's mom says they checked out and left. Yes, that was the story that came out. Yes, many tourists. Tourists often find themselves in water danger, especially in Australia. It says apparently, after raising money to hire a Guatemalan attorney, they now suspect they know why they left the country. They're talking about the kayakers. The investigation revealed that a bribe had occurred that allowed Christina's statement to be omitted and to prevent her from being detained. Blazak's attorney told News Nation the idea that his client would bribe anyone is nonsense, and said she left the country on a regularly scheduled flight, leaving the retreat early in the morning because of road closures due to civil unrest in Guatemala. Without help from Blazak, the family is planning to return to the volcanic lake again and use an underwater vehicle to painstakingly search a grid in the water. An American nonprofit group will also bring a cadaver dog that has been successful in detecting underwater human remains from a boat. The helicopter pilot says there's a lot of risk of us flying there. The divers are diving probably deeper than they should, but Blazak is not helping. The family said they understood why Blazak might feel reluctant to talk to police in Central America, but they still can't understand why she didn't share details as soon as she got home. They say, my family, we're not in denial. Nancy's gone. All we're looking for now is to understand what happened that day. How can we see closure? I mean, the family seems very, uh, grounded in what they're saying, and I don't think what they're asking for is too much. I think they're being fairly reasonable, and they're not asking for, like, Christina to fly back to Guatemala and point in the water where you saw my sister. They're just sort of asking for a bit more information. Oh, thank you, Wild Man's mom. I appreciate that, a thumbs up. Sean says, "All the women here watch One Day Rescue to know our surf." Yes, that's right. To know the surf, not the surf instructors, just the surf. Let's see if we got a little video here from News Nation, newsnationnow.com.
Well, there is a desperate search on in Guatemala for this woman from California who disappeared without a trace after going on a yoga retreat at a popular lakefront tourist spot 2 weeks ago. Now, her family says Nancy Eng has been missing since October 19th, and despite the efforts to find her, there have been no signs of the 29-year-old. For the very latest on this story, let's bring in News Nation correspondent Nancy Luz live in Monterey Park, California. So Nancy, the family, do they have any idea at all of what may have happened?
No idea, Connell. It seems to be a mystery. It was supposed to be a week-long relaxing yoga retreat for 29-year-old Nancy Eng. Instead, her disappearance has become a weeks-long anxious ordeal for her family here in Southern California.
2 weeks have been like a living hell.
Nancy Eng's family is desperate for answers. The 29-year-old left for Guatemala on October 14th, eager to spend some time to herself at a yoga retreat, just as she had last year. But on the 19th, the retreat organizer called to say that Eng had vanished.
When we first got the news that she was missing, we just had so many questions.
Eng had expressed excitement over exploring Lake Atitlan, a volcanic crater in an area popular with tourists. The family was told about a group outing to the lake on the 19th, but people went out on kayaks individually without a specific course, and Eng never returned. After reporting her missing, relatives immediately arranged for a private helicopter search.
One of the family members said she might have been kidnapped the day before. She might be somewhere else. We just don't know because we're lacking that vital information.
While many tourists to Guatemala visit without incident, the State Department does have a travel advisory up, urging Americans to reconsider travel there due to high crime.
I guess my role here is to just make sure that no stone is left unturned, make sure that we try everything we can possible.
Now, the Engs met with the FBI today, and they are considering possible trips to Guatemala. That State Department warning also notes that local police there may lack the resources to effectively investigate criminal activity. And at this point, though, it remains unclear exactly what happened to Nancy Eng. Connell?
Now, this family, Nancy's, as I understand it, at least well known in the community out there. They set up a GoFundMe. They've got a lot of donations. I mean, what can you tell us about that level of support and what they're trying to do?
Yeah, they have been part of this Monterey Park community for decades. Her family, she grew up here. And they set up this GoFundMe, and they've been getting a lot of support from the community. They may need to travel to Guatemala. They need to pay for those private searches. But
I'm going to stop that there because it's just nothing really of use or value. Just them talking about the GoFundMe. One of the last articles I can see on Nancy is this one from the Daily Mail. It says, yoga enthusiast Nancy, who disappeared while kayaking 3 months ago from her family, claim they haven't been able to speak to key witness, one who might shed light on her final moments. So they're still chasing Christina Blazek, which I find bizarre. Why wouldn't she just give them the statement and then the family can be happy with that and move on? But yeah, there's a final moment of I think that's Nancy on her kayak, and that was like the final time anyone sees her. This is the video.
The family of a Monterey Park.
Oops, let's just pause that. Let's see if I can get to here. Yeah, you guys can kind of see
Her
her
family says
waving.
this parks.
I have to pause it. But you can kind of see here, this is the lake. And there's Nancy waving. It's quite a big lake, like it goes for ages. And it's quite deep apparently. I can't remember how
Even
many
hired a
feet,
private.
but we looked it up and it was, you know, real deep. Like not like just a lake, like, you know, around the corner of your house. Like it was a volcanic lake, so it's quite uh, deeper than normal. Let me see if I can find out that measurement. I can't remember how deep it was. It's where is it? The depth of the lake, 40 meters, and the area she went missing in is 300 meters deep. That's insane. That's like, I don't even know if there's normally bodies of water that go that deep besides the ocean. It's really, if you fell in there, you'd have no idea. Right. Joy, I don't understand either. It's been like 6 months. Like, it takes 10 minutes to talk to them and then you can move on with your life. Wildman's mom says, I save a list of my number of thumbs up, make a lottery list pick from them. If I win, so do all who gave me a free number. Oh, that's pretty cool. That's a good idea, isn't it? Maybe that's the key to winning the lottery is thumbs up on YouTube videos. That would be interesting. If they'd probably make a movie from that. The woman who won the lottery through likes. The number of likes, and she won. She won the $1 billion lottery. Yeah, where is this poor girl? She's obviously passed away. She's not just living at the bottom of the ocean, you know, in a bubble. She's not with us anymore, but it would at least be nice to bring her body home for her family, so they have somewhere to grieve, somewhere to bury her, and so they could properly say goodbye. They can't really say goodbye at some random volcanic lake in Guatemala, but 300 meters deep, it may never be searched. It's extremely deep. They might need a submarine. Lake Tahoe is 500 meters deep. So what is the depth a diver can go? Because I know once divers go through a certain distance underwater, they need to start using mixed gas, and that way you have to replace some of the oxygen with gas because of the way it compresses under the water. Otherwise, you'll basically die from an edema or something. So diving down between 100 and 350 feet requires different mixtures and can be mixed for different depths. Okay, so you need varying mixtures. It says a mixture of helium and oxygen can be used for depths up to 984 feet or 300 meters. Any deeper than that requires divers to replace helium with something else. I can't remember what it is. I'm trying to find it. You have to change it with nitrous oxide eventually. Is that right? Nitrox? Up to 40% oxygen? I'm just trying to see. Trimix is, I know that they use that a lot. Trimix, which is nitrogen and helium. And what depth is that for? So it says divers any deeper than 197 feet require hypoxic trimix. So hypoxic is when basically you become hypoxic and you'll die. You'll eventually lose consciousness and think that you're going to the top when in actual fact you're going to the bottom, and you'll keep trying to go to the top, but you're actually going to the floor and you'll drown and die and Yeah, very scary. Diving deep depths is not for amateurs. Helium replaces some of the nitrogen and oxygen content. Doing so reduces the risk of oxygen toxicity at depths around 100 meters. A typical hypoxic mixture at this depth would be 10 to 70. But how much do we want to go beyond that? And you can also get oxygen necrosis too. There's all sorts of nasty stuff you can get if you don't have the right diving mix. Yeah, so you can use one of these mixers. And I think nitrox is the one they would use going past 300 meters. So the divers they brought in are putting themselves at a bad risk of death, diving death, just to try and find the body. So yeah, you can get the bends and die. There's a real famous diving video from someone who this happened to. What's it called? Hold on. I think it's called The Cathedral, and they died like trying to swim under the cathedral's arch. It's somewhere in, I want to say like in the Middle East, but I'm not 100% sure. I think, yeah, it's called the Blue Hole, Dahab Blue Hole. This is it. And there's a spot that people would like to dive through, and it's literally one of the hardest dives you can do if you don't know what the hell you're doing. And there's actually a real famous video of a guy trying to do it, and you basically see him do the wrong thing and die. And they found his camera when they sent down another diver to bring back his body. So I don't know if you've never watched that video. We're not going to play it, but if you've never watched it, it is an interesting look into what can go wrong with deep diving. I'm going to try to find out who that guy was. The number of blue hole fatalities is not accurately recorded. One source estimates 130 divers died during a 15-year period between 1997 to 2012, averaging over 8 people per year. Another person claimed it's as high as 200. Let me see. Yeah, it's the death of Yuri Lipsky. He was the diver that had his video camera on him, a Russian diver who tried to dive. I want to say it's the cathedral under there, but it might be something else. I don't know what it's called, but yeah, Yuri Lipsky was the diver. It's one of the most spookiest videos you'll ever watch. You basically see him thinking he's going up, and actually, in actual fact, he's just falling and falling and getting deeper and deeper. It's really a brutal video to watch. That's a good point. How do you know she's in the lake at all? Maybe it's not. Maybe it's some sort of cover up and she was killed somewhere else. But they do have video of her on the lake. We did play it before, and it shows her waving to the camera. I mean, that's the last known sighting of Nancy. Sorry, didn't mean to go off on a tangent about diving depth.
Year-old Nancy.
I can show you here there you go. This is the video of her on the lake here. So they do know she was on the lake that day. How do they know she's there? Well, I guess they've got to trust what witnesses say. Hold on. I had to cough and I didn't want to blow your ears out. No, you helped him study for his diving tests? It's pretty brutal. Oh, thanks, Maria. I appreciate it. Yeah, if you're the type of person who just likes to see things for your own knowledge, you can look that up on your own. Actually, I can show you a little picture of like not of his video, but where he went. if it'll show it to me here. So this is the thing he tried to do. From what I understand, most people dive here in the blue hole. But if I remember correctly, I can't remember if he entered here, tried to swim all the way through here and come up here, or he tried to dive down here, go all the way down here and come up in the blue hole, or something like that. I just can't remember how it happened. Like he came around here and then tried to go over this or something. It was some really weird. This is what it was. I think he dove here or on this side and he tried to come out of this exit here really deep in it. That's right. I haven't watched it in about 5 years. But he tried to hit this like hole under here or something, and it's supposed to be like the trickiest dive to do because if you don't look at your surroundings and it's very weird and murky under there, so you really have to know what you're doing. He missed this like landmark, and that's what messed him up to the point where he got way deeper than he thought, and the oxygen mix in his tank wasn't correct for the depth he ended up being at, and he became hypoxic, and he ended up getting oxygen necrosis and died. So so these people searching the lake for Nancy, it's not a simple, hey, let's just send them down to 300 meters. There's risk there. There's risk for these people that are putting their life on the line to bring back what is already a dead person. So some people would say they shouldn't bother, but if there's skilled enough divers who are willing to take the risk, it would be nice to bring back Nancy for her family and to bring her back to the USA. Bury her in California. On camera, but without statements from all witnesses. Right. It's just sort of like a camera with her waving in the foreground, and that's it. Yeah, Sean, he ends up hitting the side of this wall somewhere in this dive, and you see just all the sediment go everywhere, and he can't see anything. And he's already getting oxygen deprivation, and he's already a bit disorientated, and that makes it like 1,000 times worse. He ends up tripping and then falling off like a cliff, and then he just goes down like 1,000 meters or something, like 100 meters. He falls and just goes, and like a slippery dip. He just goes down like a what do you call it? Yeah, like a slide. He just goes and goes all the way down, way past his oxygen limit. Yeah, I've driven behind a road train. Yeah. Right. Yeah, you can get freshwater salt mix too. There's a whole range of things with diving. So the reason we're talking about this is because of Nancy and the lake she's in. She's in this volcanic lake, which is super deep, and yeah, it is quite dangerous. I think the fact this guy's already gone out and he's already sent his divers out, and then they're going to go again. Each time you go, it probably ups the risk factor because you already did it once and got away with it and came out. And then if you do it again and again and again, it probably ups your risk, risk percent, because you think each time you do it, you know what you're doing and this and that. So I don't know, guys. Her body could be all the way down on the bottom of the seabed or riverbed, lake bed, whatever you want to call it. And it's possible that they maybe just won't find it. It would be nice though. Poor Nancy. As for criminal charges or something, I guess we'll find out if they can ever do a proper investigation into it and find out more. Like, will these people like Christina actually talk properly to investigators? Will the other people that were there, because that's the thing, we don't know too much about the other people. We know about Blazek because she's the one who got her name splashed all over the papers and all that. But the other ones we don't know too much about. And I know they weren't the closest, apparently, according to the witnesses' statements, but everyone sort of needs to be talked to. Let me see if I can find anything else on Nancy before we move on for the night. I don't think so, though. There's been so few updates in the last, I don't know, 2 months, 3 months. Let me check the past month. Nope. The last one before that was in December. Last update before the one I just read you was in December. So a couple of months ago. All I can say is I hope the family gets what they're looking for. And at some point, maybe they can bring Nancy home. That would be really nice. I know some people are going to ask about Samantha Murphy. I literally don't have any update for you. Nothing. The last update anyone got was this one. Missing Ballarat woman Samantha Murphy disappearance suspicious and unusual, according to police. That's it. That's all they've said. And they said it's suspicious. Whether that means there's foul play involved or not, I don't know. But obviously detectives are investigating a matter where a woman's been missing for a significant period of time, and that's what makes it suspicious to them. And that's it. That's the only update. There is no other update. I'm just trying to see. The only other update was that her beloved puppy died when it escaped the house and was hit by a car. Ended up having to be euthanized, unfortunately. Well, I shouldn't say bloody ping. Shouldn't say that word either. It's the same as the S word. Shouldn't say that. We'll get age restricted again. Let's see. They still don't know whether there was any foul play involved in Samantha Murphy's disappearance. All right. Had enough of Nancy. Let's see what else we've got to talk about from today's day in true crime. What else happened today? Let me see. Oh, apparently a fugitive in Tennessee. I always like fugitives. The TBI. Let me see if I can get the... No, that's not right. Hold on. The links are not being our friends tonight. It says a captured fugitive accused of killing deputy caught in Tennessee. But I'm trying to find the link. Arrest of Kenneth DeHart. Okay, here. It says Kenneth DeHart arrest. What led police to the Linden Avenue home after a deputy shooting? He was wanted in killing of Blount County deputy Kenneth Wayne DeHart Jr., the man accused of killing a Blount County deputy and injuring another. DJ will tell me that I'm saying it wrong. The police search and capture of Kenneth Wayne DeHart Jr., the man accused of killing one county deputy and injuring another, pulled in local, state, and federal experts over the course of several days, and tracking technology was key. From February the 8th night in Maryville, when Hart fled the scene of a shooting, to the afternoon of February 13th in Knoxville, when police in tactical gear arrested him, agencies had fielded thousands of tips, tracked his cell phone, and arrested his brother and girlfriend on suspicion the two had helped him get away. Days of intense police work and dozens of messages asking the community for help ended with DeHart in handcuffs that had been carried by the man he is accused of killing. They always like to do those type of sentimental things, don't they? When you kill a police officer, when they finally arrest you, they'll use his cuffs. Officers from the Blount County Sheriff's Office, Knox County Sheriff's Office, Knoxville Police Department, Tennessee Bureau of Investigation and U.S. Marshal Service were there to see through the work that led them to the home on Linden Avenue. No one was hurt during the arrest. Let me see if there's an actual video of this, because I'd never heard about this. Here.
You're not hearing me right now?
Speak closer.
Let me have him talk instead.
Everybody good audio? Audio good? 3, 2, 1. Very good.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Come on, video.
Ready? I want to introduce everybody here before we start. Chief Paul Noel, Knox City. Chief of Police Tony Chris, Maryville Police Department. Director David Roush, TBI. Marshal Jolly, United States Marshal Service. Ryan Desmond, Blount County Attorney General. And Derek Newport, TBI. I got that right. You can't understand how excited I am today to tell you at 3:22 today, we arrested the man that murdered my deputy. While it's emotional right now, it's a relief to the citizens of Blount County, all over East Tennessee. It's especially a relief to his family and my deputies. I met with them at 3:30, as you know today, between 4 and 7, they're receiving friends. I was there when they got there, and I walked in and asked if we had anything they needed that the sheriff's office could provide. Then I told them when I came back and saw them tomorrow at 1 o'clock at the funeral, he would be in air jail if there's any way possible, and God willing. And guess what? He's in air jail. And there's so many people I want to thank. These people right here, they're here, but there's hundreds of others, agencies from across the state that didn't come, that offered to come. But this is a joint effort. General Desmond said the other day he had never been around this large of a multi-jurisdictional, multi-agency manhunt, what we have now. And I can't give credit to any one person. It was a 100% team effort. And to have a network in the state of Tennessee of law enforcement that will work together to bring justice to an individual that committed a crime, especially one that killed a law enforcement officer in cold blood. I want to thank you again. The media has been very, very patient. I said that the other day with me.
Continuing to follow this breaking news we got just about an hour ago that the suspect accused of shooting and killing one deputy and hurting another is now in custody. That is Kenneth DeHart. You see this photo here as he was being put into a patrol car in East Knoxville this afternoon.
Yeah, we have a little bit of context on where this happened. If we can pull up the map that we've created for you just to show you about the area where the suspect was caught. This person, Kenneth DeHart, right there on Harrison Street, Linden Avenue, this all in East Knoxville. But DeHart is somebody who law enforcement have been looking for since last Thursday, and has been a manhunt that's involved several agencies, not just in East Tennessee, but statewide and even beyond. Has been looking for this person who they've considered to be armed and dangerous since late Thursday into Friday morning. Has now been arrested about an hour and a half ago. We were getting that information straight from authorities who have been telling UKC for several days that they believe DeHart had not left the East Tennessee area. Of course, is happening in Blount County and being found in Knoxville, but they believed that he was at least nearby, and here we are.
Yeah, they thought people were helping him. And in fact, they arrested his brother and his girlfriend, both accused of helping him escape police the last couple of days. Both of them were in jail yesterday. They're facing charges. And we have a crew on scene. Our Jared Austin is live from a home on Linden Avenue. And Jared, it looks like it's still an active scene behind you.
Still a very
Look at the police response behind him. There's cars everywhere. And that photo they had of the suspect, like they had the guys with the friggin' binoculars and the heads up display, and they sent out like the real tech team, like TAC team. They weren't messing around with this guy. He already killed one deputy. They did not want him killing another. I can show you here. This was the Greg McCowan was the Blount County Sheriff's officer who he killed, and he's been charged with first-degree murder, attempted first-degree murder, and felony possession of a weapon. And they arrested his brother and his girlfriend on accessory after the fact charges. So there you go. That was a manhunt. I didn't even hear about this when it happened, but apparently it had been happening for about a week. They were looking for him all throughout Knoxville and the county, trying to find him, and they finally tracked him down. They said warrants were obtained charging DeHart with the first-degree murder, attempted first-degree, and felony possession of a weapon after the two county deputies were shot during a traffic stop in the 4900 block of Seaverville Road on Thursday, February 8th. It says Deputy Greg McCowan died from his injuries. Deputy Shelby Eggers was shot in the leg. She was treated at an area hospital and is recovering at home. DeHart was processed at the Blount County Jail before being transferred to the Loudoun County Jail, where he will appear Thursday, February 15th at 9 a.m. It says the County Sheriff James Lee Barong said Tuesday that arresting officers used McCowan's handcuffs to take him into custody before visiting with McCowan's family at a private funeral service. Here is his booking photo right there. You can see him. He looks a little like roughed up, right? They look like he may have been like, they were putting him in the car and they sort of hit his head on the frame and they're like, whoops, sorry about that, I slipped. It's like he's pretty beaten up. He's got a bruised, what is that, like his left eye, above his left eye here. His forehead's like awfully red. He's got a, like below his right eye, he's got a nasty graze here and not something here, something over here. It looks like they may have given him a couple like under the counter punches, something like that, or like slipped with their rifle or something. It was just an accident, I swear. If you want a man who lives in Tennessee, keep this updated every day. Yeah, it's good that he's in custody. Yeah, just serving their community. That's all they were doing. I know. Sean said, what happened to playing cops and robbers when you wanted to be the cop? I know. Well, it's really good that he is in custody. I mean, he is a scumbag. I don't care who it is. I don't care if you are literally look, right here it says highway construction. I don't care if you're the construction worker who's putting out witches' hats on the highway and someone comes across and shoots you. It's the same. You shot someone while they're just trying to do their job. Same as how I feel about the cops. I know there's a lot of political stuff around cops, but at the very base of it, they're just trying to do their job and go home. That's it. And you took his life because of that. And it's just unforgivable. It really is. And same goes the other way. If a cop takes the life of someone that there's no reason to, they get held in the same regard, or they should. You know, they're not above the law. It says Barong said on Tuesday that he did not believe anyone would receive the $100,000 in reward offered for information leading to an arrest, though he did say law enforcement did receive accurate tips. They received accurate tips, yet no one's going to get any of the reward money. Ah, you tight buggers. Give it to someone. Otherwise, what's it used for? It's used to get the tips. You got the guy. Hand it out to 10 people. Like, if 10 people called in the tips that all together led to his arrest, split it up and each give them 10 grand. I mean, I've heard this before. I've heard this before where police agencies won't give out the reward money because, like, someone didn't quite get it right. They spelt the last name wrong. They got the person arrested, but it didn't lead to a conviction. That type of thing. They often try to worm out of giving the reward money, unfortunately. He's probably clumsy. Danny, you'll have to teach him how to not be clumsy. Hey, Leisha. Leisha says, hi, Ping. Happy V-Day. Yeah, happy V-Day. Happy V-Day. Not this time. Not this time. Not V for victory. V for Valentine's Day. Yeah, I've heard it heaps of times where they don't pay out. And they have these weird little, conditions. They're like, oh, it wasn't done to the right phone number. They came in and reported it in person. It was through an email. Like, they just have these weird little loopholes that get them out of paying. But if the community helped get this guy arrested, split it up and give it to them. Go back through the 911 or the Crime Stoppers audio from the phone calls and find these people and give it to them. Oh my God. Oh no. Apparently in Bow Desert, Queensland, woman shredded to death by tractor slasher in possible domestic violence attack. Woman killed by tractor slasher. A woman has died after being run over by a tractor slasher in a suspected horrific incident of domestic violence. Emergency services were called to a property at Woodhill near Bow Desert in southern Queensland just after 9 a.m. on Thursday. They found a severely injured woman believed to be aged in her early 30s, but were unable to revive her and she was pronounced dead at the scene. The property is believed to be a sugarcane farm where police have established a crime scene and say a 44-year-old man is assisting police with the investigation. Logan Criminal Investigative Branch is investigating the sudden death of a 32-year-old woman at a Woodhill address. The statement said police were called to the Undalla Road property at 9:30 a.m. this morning following reports of the sudden death of a woman. Upon arrival, police located a 32-year-old Woodhill woman deceased. Crime scene has been declared and investigations are underway. That is terrible. A tractor slasher. That's like for taking down the crops, right? Oh, it's like like it takes down the wheat. And it can mow and stuff like that. I'll show you what it is. It's like this thing. It has like a giant turning blade on it underneath it and chains that drag along it. It looks like this thing. It goes across and it takes down long grass. So if she got attacked by that and went under it, what a horrific death. And it's apparently a domestic violence death. There you go. That's what a tractor slasher looks like. Horrible. That just pops up on the feed. For corn. Okay. Yeah. Horrible way to go, right? Yeah, Marlene. Is the other Marlene here? No, it's the Marlene Clausen, the OG Marlene. Not what you saw in your head. Did you see the other one that had like the turning blade? That's originally what I thought too. The one that has like the spiral blade. That's what I thought. Not this one, not the draggy one. I thought it was the one that has that big spiral that goes along and it kind of cuts things and then spits it out at the other end. Yeah. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Hopefully that 44-year-old man will be arrested on murder. we should see that. I don't know if he'll get first degree or it'll be something else. I have no idea, but yeah, awful. Awful to hear such a thing about another woman being killed by her partner. Horrible. Let me see if I can find out any more about it. Hey, come on. Yeah, it does say. This is the aerial view of the property. This is a police crime scene van by the looks of it. They've set up like a caravan to get all their tools out and do a crime scene. Jeez. Sounds like they've been there all day. 32-year-old was pronounced dead at the scene. Still waiting for more information about the woman or who she is. Maybe. Jojo says, I've never seen that, and I grew up on a 187-acre farm. Well, maybe it's the spiral one. Maybe Google is wrong. You never know. Google can be wrong. Hold on. Oh, shoot. It's 5 o'clock. Yeah, unfortunately, I gotta pack up, guys. I gotta go. No news on the killing of 5 in Winnipeg. I'll keep an eye on that, Gambler. I will. Yeah, we got to wrap up for the night for the late show. It only goes for about 45 minutes to an hour. It's just a little extra show for the people who are up late at night. And yeah, it's like a bonus show compared to the first show that goes for 2 hours or an hour and a half. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else. I think it was this one that I was seeing earlier. It was a Brighton Sands in Sydney body washes up on the shore. Police launched an investigation because they couldn't identify them. It's now understood to be a incident of self-harm. That's unfortunate. It's very sad. And if you were wondering, Taylor Swift went from Japan, the Super Bowl in Las Vegas, and now she's in Australia. She flew to Australia last night, actually. She's down in Sydney at the moment. Same with Pink. Pink is here too, if you care about that type of thing. She's in Sydney as well. Yeah, Google's wrong. After Wild Crocodile. Yeah, later Gator. I'll be back tomorrow night, 9:30, like always. Tune in, and if you haven't subscribed to this channel, what are you doing? Or if you have friends that you want to hang out with here and they don't know about it, let them know. We're here every night, hanging out, talking true crime from across the planet. London, UK, Australia, America, Asia, wherever. We'll go to true crime wherever it is. So until then, enjoy what's left, if there is anything, of your Valentine's Day. And happy Valentine's Day from me, Ping, to you out there. Until then, until tomorrow night, that's it from me. Good night, everyone.